Okay, hello everybody. So today I have a new review with an awesome new guest. I got RJ here. She's really cool. She has a YouTube channel where she does reviews that are like very fun, and she's also an animator. And she's like got some really cool animation and stuff like that. So yeah, you should check out all her stuff. So yeah, why don't you just tell people a little bit about yourself and like what you do and you know.
Yeah, hi, I'm RJ. Yeah, I make YouTube videos mostly critiquing films and apparently going very hard on them, as we talked about before this stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
In a fun way, in a very fun way.
Yeah, but as a job, I'm a concept artist and storyboard artist for films and video games. But yeah, I like to make fun of films and enjoy them.
Yeah. And so you have your work like on your Instagram page and some places like that, right? And you have your own website?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Cool. Yeah, people should check it out. Your art's really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's super sweet. Thank you.
So today we're here to talk about a movie called Palm Springs. And so this film, this is a cool film. So this film actually, it premiered at Sundance, and then it sold for a record amount. It was like $17.5 million. So it beat the previous record by 69 cents. So there you go. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? Like that was definitely on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, all right.
Yeah. They have a sense of humor about all of it. So this film, it's kind of hard to talk about the film without like talking about the premise, because the premise is like so kind of integral to what's going on with the film. So the film starts off and there's this guy, Nyles, who's played by Andy Samberg. And we quickly learn that he's stuck in an infinite time loop, sort of like Groundhog Day. And what's going on is there's this this wedding for his girlfriend's sister. And he basically replays the wedding day every single day, infinitely, forever. And yeah, that's the premise of the movie. And yeah, so what do you think about that? Like this idea that, and what's cool about this, and this is something that Reddit talked about, is like this film already starts off, he's been in this thing for who knows how long, right?
Yeah. That honestly surprised me. I was like, oh, because it kind of takes you just a little bit to figure that out, but they do it very subtly, but very, very well. It's very well done how they do it.
Yeah. What kind of clued me in was at the first time we see him at the wedding, like recital or whatever, like the actual event, and he's like dancing, and he's like dancing in a way where he knows everyone's moves, and it's like, yeah, this guy knows what's going on.
He definitely looked this sounds so sad. He looked depressed enough to be in that situation, to know that he's in that situation. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, you're definitely just living a wedding over and over again.
Yeah. So that was fun. So so the film starts off, and there's, it's the wedding, and he's just like doing his thing. He's just kind of partying, and he kind of has a very carefree attitude, as we'll find out in the film. And then he like basically he gives this speech, and then he tries to hook up with Siara, who's played by Cristin. I think it's Milioti. And so yeah. I don't know. Have you seen her in anything before?
I swear I have, but I couldn't tell you.
The thing I know her from was an episode of Black Mirror. I don't know if you watched that show.
Wait, which one was it?
She was in the one about it was the one that was a spoof of Star Trek, but the captain guy was like really weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that. Mm-hmm.
She was in that, and she was the person who like got captured by him, like the newest person who got brought into that thing. So yeah, she's had some small roles. I believe she was also in The Wolf of Wall Street. I don't really remember her, but this feels like her biggest role to date for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's pretty good in this film.
I thought she was phenomenal. Yeah. I think more so their acting was really spot on. Like I thought Andy Samberg was perfect for this role. I know him. We all know him from SNL, of course, but I remember like he's in one of my favorite comedies, Hot Rod. I love that movie so much. And so, but I thought he was going to be over the top. I was like, oh, this is going to be just very like, kind of like maybe Dumb and Dumber humor a little bit, you know, that kind of thing. But no, I think this was more of like a serious role for him than I've ever seen him play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely, you know, his character has a certain philosophy that makes him kind of act goofy and do certain things, but it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't like Dumb and Dumber.
What did you think of the one scene where what was it? There was like a bomb in the cake.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He was just like, he grabbed the bomb. Oh,
like, there's a bomb in the cake. Oh, no. Yeah.
And then she comes out of nowhere with like a hook. I don't know. I thought my ass off. That was so funny.
That was fun. Yeah. I mean, the middle of the film, they do a lot of fun stuff together. And the writers kind of have fun with like playing out differences because like they can just do whatever they want because there's no real repercussion for them. Yeah, so that was fun. There's a couple other like there's one scene later when he confronts someone that I thought was pretty funny.
Oh, which are you talking about?
Yeah,
when he
we'll get into it in the spoiler section, but I'll let you know when we get into the spoiler section. Okay. So Nyles hooks up with Siara, but then while they're like about to have sex, like this guy Roy comes in, who's played by J.K. Simmons, and he attacks him with like a what do they call it? It's a compact bow. Yeah, he attacks him with a compact bow and like shoots him in the leg, and then Nyles has to run. And then they escape into this cave, right? And Nyles tells Siara, "Do not follow me into this cave," which of course means she's going to do it. And she does, and she wakes up the next day in the same bed where she woke up the day before, but it's the same day for her. And then she confronts Nyles in this really funny scene where she's like, she finds him in the he's in the pool, and she starts throwing beers at him, and then she jumps in the pool after him. That was great. That
was another good thing. They jump between perspectives of these characters, and they do it so well. You would think it would get boring after a while, but you notice once he goes under the water, she says something else that we didn't hear from his perspective because he didn't hear that. Because I think she says something like, I think she's like, what did you do? What did you do? And he just goes under the water to hide from her. And you don't hear her, but she says, she's like, "I'm not gonna hurt you. What are you doing?" Like,
yeah.
She just jumps out there.
Exactly. She says, "I'm not gonna hurt you." Then she jumps into the water. Yeah, it's really funny.
Man. I'm trying not to spoil it too much. I'm sorry.
Do you remember what happens because of what Siara does on the first day that she is in the recurring loop?
Are you talking about? Wait, no.
Like what?
Yeah.
So. Because Siara freaks out, her sister also freaks out. And
yep.
So when her sister freaks out, she's like running after Siara, and she trips and falls and breaks her 2 front teeth. And then everyone's like freaked out, and it's because it's like this is her wedding day, and now she doesn't have teeth. And then their dad's like calling people like, "Oh my god, I'm calling the dentist, blah blah blah." And then there's like, "Oh, we found a dentist who can glue teeth." Yeah, it was just absurd. It's just super absurd. I thought that was a really funny scene. And then he explains to her like, "Yeah, so we're like stuck in this infinite time loop, and there's like really no way out of it. So yeah."
He's like, "Sorry, not sorry."
Yeah.
He's like, "Chill, bro. It's fine. It's fine." Oh man.
He's like, yeah, have a beer. It's awesome. You'll find that being in this loop is amazing.
They did a really good job touching on just how many. First of all, I think they did a good job, like the levels of what is it? They kind of had like the stages of grief just a little bit, where it's like she has to like understand like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be stuck in here forever.
Yeah.
And with this person, and this, yeah. Well, I don't want to spoil the crazy lunatic. J.K. Simmons is wonderful.
Yeah.
Can we talk about J.K. Simmons for a second, or do you want to get to that later?
Yeah, we can talk about him. His character is really. He's a great actor, right?
Oh, mm-hmm.
He's an amazing actor. And this character is kind of interesting. What do you think of his character in this film?
Oh, I loved him. I wrote in my notes something. Oh yeah, I wrote, this movie made me realize that the one thing in this world I needed was to see J.K. Simmons get high.
Yeah, that was a really interesting scene. Like they get high together, and J.K. is like holding him and caressing his face.
He's just like, come here.
Yeah, this is the greatest day of my life. It's so funny.
It's like, I don't want it to, and he's like, I don't want it to end, and that's when
he's like, oh.
And he's like, oh,
I can grant you that wish. The monkey's paw curls. Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, so Sarah, once she learns all this, she comes up with a plan of her own. She's like, oh, I know. All I have to do is one selfless act, and then I can get out of this time loop. So she, at the wedding, she like tells her sister something that we probably know later what that is that she told her at that time.
Maybe.
And then and then she's like, oh well, see you later, Nyles. I'm out of here. Wakes up the next day, didn't work. And so then she becomes completely nihilistic like him. It's like, okay, let's have fun. Let's just fuck it. Like,
you think that's why his name is Nile? Nihilism?
Yeah, well, maybe, probably. Maybe that's the writers being clever. Or trying to be.
Oh no.
So yeah, and so then they go on, they just do a bunch of crazy stuff, like what are they hijack a plane.
Mm-hmm.
They meet this guy and they shoot guns in the desert.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they do just a bunch of stuff. They go bar hopping and they like, remember that scene they're in the bar and they like make up a dance together?
Oh yeah, I watched that and I'm like, I'm just receded into my chair. I'm just like, oh gosh, that's so cringy.
Yeah, it was really cringy.
That's exactly what anybody would do. Like, I don't know. I would do the same thing. I wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Nyles kind of talks about like he's done everything. He's met everyone.
Mm-hmm.
He's had sex with everyone.
Yes. Yep. That was really funny. Honestly, that made me laugh so hard. There's this one guy. There's this one guy, and he's like, yeah, like I had sex with him. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, oh god,
I forget what he says, but he says something where he's like, yeah, he banged me. Is basically what he said.
Yep, essentially, yeah, yep. And the next person is what got to me though, where he was like, and should we say it or no?
Yeah, go ahead, say it. Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. It's the best part of the movie. No. What is it? What did he say? He was just like, oh, by the way, I also had sex with your dad. And she's like, what? Wait, what? And then there was
there's a scene of them like, what are we doing? Like, what does this mean? I don't understand.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, they go at it. Yeah.
So good. It was so funny.
That's what happens when you're bored. You just,
Yep, I guess. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
Go ahead.
So they're hanging out and they're like, they kind of form a connection, right? And so then Nyles and Sarah they go out to the desert and they have this night together and they take mushrooms. Yep. And then they see dinosaurs, which comes up later.
Was that because they were high? I was so confused. I was like, wait.
We'll get to
dinosaurs? That. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because we think, they're super high and they're seeing dinosaurs.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then they just like, they get in their tent and they have sex and they have this beautiful moment. Not, at least Nyles sees it that way. And then, but then in the next scene, Well, I guess so. What did you think? Did you like that moment they had together when they were like doing?
Oh, I thought it was so cute. Yeah, I was gushing. I thought it was super cute. Well, because that was the moment. Because up until that moment, well, at least on my end, I really like Andy's character, Nyles. I really loved Nyles as a character. And you're starting to like really warm up to Sarah, and you're just like, oh man, like these. I think it was just because the dialogue was very realistic and very fun. But then that moment happens, and you just see like this different side of them, and it's just very sweet to see him go from this person that's like, oh, I just don't care anymore. I've been here for like how many years and years and years stuck in this loop. But now all of a sudden he does care, and it's just yeah.
It was good. That was a good scene for sure. So I think now we can get into like the spoiler section.
Yes.
Because we've kind of covered all the like basic plot. You know, I mean, it's a romantic comedy, right? So it's meet cute. It's Andy and I forget the other girl. And I mean, and we know that at some point they're gonna get together, right? It's just a question of what is the gap that has to be bridged between the two of them. So after the scene with the with the dinosaurs and they have sex in the tent, so then the next morning Sarah wakes up and we basically they kind of had been hinting at it because we see what her experience is like when she wakes up that day. And one thing I really liked about this too was, we can kind of see why she's motivated later to want to get out of this scenario, because her day starts really bad every day.
Yeah.
And so we find out that she had sex with the groom, Abe, the night before. And that's what she wakes up to every day is like this being with, like she slept with her sister's husband before they were going to get married. Yeah.
I think that's what that's had to be what she whispered in her sister's ear.
Yes,
when she was going through that.
So.
I think so, yeah. Like, hey, I slept with your groom, bye. Which is just, oh man.
Many times.
Oh man.
Probably.
Yeah, right. Man.
Yeah. So that was a really good scene because like they had been kind of hinting at it. Like you always hear someone in the shower, but you don't really know who it is. And like there's these really cool shots where you see like the door from her eye. Like they always go back to that shot when she wakes up. And so it's really kind of hitting on that the thing that's going on there is for her mentally, it's about like doing this thing that kind of doesn't make her feel great, but she does it because, we learn about her character. Like she kind of, she says that she's like kind of easy or whatever or something, or she does she drinks a lot, something. Yeah. So it's obvious that she she has some self-esteem issues. But then so then that next day, Nyles is really like lovey-dovey, but she's like not really into it.
Yeah, that was sad. That was,
and then they get
sad.
It was pretty heart-wrenching. And then they get pulled over by the cops. But it turns out that the cops is Roy. And he shows up and he's, trying to exact his revenge on Nyles. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Roy is also stuck in the time loop because Nyles thought it would be a good idea to bring him into it, but he was, that pissed him off too.
They got high together, and then Nyles was just like, yeah, man, like you want to stay, don't want this day to end, and then
I can do that for you.
And then he goes into the cave, and you just see Nyles going, wait, no, never mind, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Roy is like has been hunting him for
revenge. For who knows how long. So Roy comes at him, but then Sarah gets into the car and just basically runs him over or whatever. Hits him with the car. So he's like, and then she's like, do you remember what you did to the other police person that comes?
No, I don't. I know he gets tased. I know she like ducks and like
Yeah.
Nyles gets tased.
Yeah.
No, wait, what did she do? Oh,
She was just like dancing around. She was dancing like, screw you, cop.
Yeah.
And then she's like dancing like,
Nothing
oh, I'm
matters.
touching your car. I'm touching your bike. I'm touching your bike. And she's just like
I really love the moment right after that though, because Nyles, they're sitting on the side of the road now, handcuffed, and Nyles is like, you can't do that. Like, pain is still exists, and you can't like go all like anarchist on these people, and like, you know, like you can't like put me in danger. You can't put yourself in danger.
Yeah.
Pain exists. Like, that's what's real in this world, and it's like, ooh, like you could tell the writers thought that out a lot.
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, he said like the pain is real, pain matters. What we do to other people matters.
Yeah.
And like he said, like we have to live with the things that we do to other people.
I don't know,
like even though they don't.
I don't know about you, but that was the moment where I was like, okay, I'm starting. Oh wait, okay, wait. The way I'm gonna phrase this is weird. Just bear with me. I started to like Nyles as a character too much. I was like, wait, he just feels a little bit too perfect to me. I'm like, because he's very sweet, but he's like, you feel very, very sympathetic for him. And now he's got this like moral compass that you can agree with. But then the moment I started personally thinking that, they hit you with, oh, he's been lying to her this entire time about something. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I love imperfect characters. It's so exciting. So.
Yeah. I mean, Nyles' problem is that he kind of, whatever happened to him made him accept this reality, and he sort of accepts that he can't change, and he's kind of okay with it. But yeah, that's really his problem, right? Is like he's fine with being stuck, you know, and it's probably true of his life outside of the infinite time loop. But yeah, that speech was really good, because yeah, it really, like that was there's a ideological gulf between the two of them, kind of, because they're both sort of on separate, because he's very nihilistic at first, but she's not, and she wants out of it because she believes in something more. But yeah, and Nyles then basically reveals that, like, you know, he had lied about whether or not they'd been together, like if they'd had sex before, and he said like thousands of times.
I think he said millions, which is like,
oh my god.
That's obviously an exaggeration, but I was like, ooh, all right.
Yeah.
And you know, when he said like, oh yeah, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure we haven't had sex, I'm like, oh my gosh, you totally did. Like, that's not even a question, because they connect so well, like these two characters, and it's just like,
Well, also, yeah, like in the beginning when we're introduced to seeing the two of them together, like when they kind of like meet and then they're like about to have sex out in the desert, you know, yeah, it seems pretty obvious that he knows what to do to get with her.
Oh, I also, in that I forgot to mention, in that moment when she says like, yeah, we might as well just get it over with, when they're about to have sex, and he's just like, you see this like look on his face, and it's like, oh my gosh. I think for me, at the very least, I interpreted it as like, it was the same look he got on his face before he had sex with his girlfriend. By the way, he's dating somebody, but she's cheating on him.
Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't really, her character doesn't matter at all. Nobody cares about her. But
yeah,
she's not a good person. But it's the same look that he had earlier, where it's like, nothing matters, you know, might as well. But then he looks at her, and it's different, and it's just like, oh, very sweet, very sweet.
Like she's the first thing that makes him care about other things. Like before, it just, you know, he has the philosophy, don't hurt people, but other than that, I'll do whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise he's just she actually gets him out of that sort of stupor that he has. So then after this event where they have a fight, Sarah's just like gone for a while, and so then we're seeing from Niles' perspective, and he doesn't see her for, you know, what feels like who knows how long, right?
Yeah, we don't really know how long they don't talk to each other. I think it's probably like many months, but I don't know. Maybe we should get to that later.
Yeah, I mean, it could be years.
Yeah, I think can we talk about what she was doing that whole time? Like, should we just?
Yes. Yeah. This is a good time to talk about. Well,
Okay.
I think the only other thing we should talk about is so Nyles then gets like really mad and like there's this funny scene. So they like use these scenes. They like replay these scenes over again in different ways to like show how people change. So there's a scene where Nyles wakes up and he's like making a drink, but he's in the kitchen and whenever Sarah is gone, the parents talk about like, oh, she left because she only cares about herself. And so in one version, he would like defend her. It's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you guys treat her like shit and blah, blah, blah. But in this one, he's like, yeah, you know what? The mom's right. She's selfish. She's an asshole. Blah, blah, blah. So he's like totally hates her. And he becomes so desperate that he meets with Roy. And then he talks with Roy.
Yes.
And Roy's sort of had this moment of contemplation because he basically Nyles talks about the worst thing that can happen is you die really slowly and painfully. And so that's what Sarah did to him.
Yeah. By ICU, he said, yeah.
Yeah, he was in the ICU and it was a long, drawn out, painful death.
That's actually one thing. Sorry, really quick. I really liked the rules that they established because it wasn't like, okay, by the end of the day, then it flips to like 6 a.m. or whatever it is, and you get the shot on the clock. We never got that. It was always whenever you fall asleep is when you reset, or when you die, or when you enter the cave again. Yeah. So, I like
any of those three things would send you back.
What did he say? He once, like, Nyles at one point earlier said, like,
he got to New Guinea?
Yeah, he got on a plane and he just got he was on crystals or something. And
yeah, crystal meth, yeah.
Yeah, and he got on the plane and he was just like, I was acting really weird. And so it wasn't worth it at all. It's because they arrested me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And even at the beginning, one of the things we see Sarah try to do is drive back home to Austin. She gets a bunch of gas in her car. She goes, she drives. Then she falls asleep and she's right back where she started. So yeah, there's a limit to what they can really do in any given day, basically.
This script is so well thought out because they never really have to explain it, that they fall asleep and then, it's always just, that's how we know, is we see her fall asleep. It's not like, I really loved the writing, personally. I thought the writing was literally from the first scene, even though the first scene was a little ridiculous in the movie. And normally I'd be like, oh, really? Like, okay, why? Like the first scene to get to know our character, that's great. But I was like, the dialogue is really good. Wait, what? And I was really confused. I was like, this is actually going to be good. I'm not prepared mentally. Spiritually, I'm not prepared.
I'm not ready for this amazing experience.
I'm not raising. Sorry.
All right.
Roy.
So later on, after Nyles meets with Roy, we get to see what Sarah has been up to. So she has been learning quantum physics. She's been spending a bunch of time learning quantum physics, and that's why I think it could have been years. I mean, it could take you 4 or 5 years or something.
But like,
who knows?
There's no way you can go years without seeing the only other person. I don't know. Maybe. I just I had a really hard time believing it was more than like a few months.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a little.
Yeah, it's some amount of time. We're not really sure how long. But then at some point she figures out how to get out. She does this experiment where she takes a goat. And she straps C4 to a goat, and she puts the goat in the cave, and then she explodes it blows it up at the right moment, and then she's like, oh, well, the goat never came back, so the goat got out. So that's what I'm going to do to myself, is what she said. And I was like, no, you shouldn't do that. We should just be here together forever in this loop of eternity. And she's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. And, you know, like I said, I think, again, it's like because every day she has to wake up with that shame of like what she did.
Everything always like with her mentally kind of goes back to that. Like and everything goes back to that. Yeah. I really love, good.
Yeah. So basically there's this sort of moment where Nyles, you know, he's at first he's like, okay, I'm just going to let you go and I'm going to stay here. But then he decides to say, hey, you know, he said something like, I'd rather die with you than be stuck here forever without you, something like that.
Yeah. That could have been cheesy, but I honestly didn't think it was. I don't know. It just wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to rewatch it.
So here's a question that came up in my mind about this. So if Niles stayed, but she left, would he then still be with like the non-temporal loop version of her? Of Sarah?
Well,
is that how it would have worked?
Wait, do you think they would have like split off or something like that, and she would have still technically?
I think what would have happened is that she would have continued, and then the next day there would be a different version of her that doesn't remember any of their experiences together, just like a blank slate. That's what I would think the logic would be.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I think they're kind of treating this as if it is linear, like it's not like separate timelines, separate like parallel universes, like, you know, it's like I think they're treating this more like it is like a linear plot. So it's like if they basically blow themselves up, which by the way, when the writers came up with that, it's like quantum physics tell me that they should blow themselves up, and it's like, okay, sure they do. All right. That's totally a thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought.
Well, I guess the point is that he wouldn't really be with her. He'd be with someone different, right?
I would like to think that they would, because Roy is still stuck there. So we kind of know from Roy, like after they blow themselves up, and then can we say that they end up going to the next day and continuing the rest of their lives probably together. Roy is still stuck in the time loop. And we see him walk up to Nyles in the time loop, and Nyles is like, I don't know who you are. And he figures it out. He's like, oh, Nyles got out. And this is just first day Nyles. This is just before he, So I think that I think that if when Roy gets out, it's probably going to be like the same linear line. Like he's probably going to meet the same people that he was in the time loop with. Though I highly doubt they would ever talk to each other again. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. That's it. You know, when you get into this like crazy stuff, like the scenarios just start to play out in these really wacky ways. It's fun to think. It's a fun thought experiment, but you know, it kind of sidetracks the story.
Exist, so.
Yeah, I mean, not as far as we know. Us puny humans cannot achieve that. The level of power. Like you said, they get out of the loop and they're alive. And there's this funny scene where they've been crashing at this person's place, and like they had been gone, and so they could these people had a pool and they had all this other stuff. So they just crashed at their house willy-nilly because the people who own the house were never there. And then the people just like, what the fuck are you doing to my house? And they're like, oh, I guess they show up on November 10th.
Yeah.
And then
was funny.
The last couple shots of the movie, we see the goat again, the goat that made it out of the time loop, which we actually also saw at the beginning of the movie. We saw that same goat. And we also see the dinosaurs. We saw the
Wait,
dinosaurs
what?
again. Yeah, at the end of the movie, we saw the
I don't
dinosaurs
remember
again.
this.
Yeah, the dinosaurs were
Spoiling.
walking in that
Wait,
valley.
no. I got to the credit. Was this after the credits?
No, it was like there's one final shot of that valley again, and the dinosaurs are there. Yeah.
Did I black out or something? What I don't know. I don't know.
You haven't gotten to that part of the time loop yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're in separate realities right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. My reality isn't your reality, so I need to respect my reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. I was paying close attention. Maybe I was just too wrapped up in.
Let me see if I can show it.
You know what it was? I immediately, when the movie ended, I immediately went out and told my roommates. I'm like, yo, this movie is good. You need to watch it. So that, you know what? That's what it is. It was their fault. It was 100% their fault. I missed the dinosaurs. Good. I'm so sad.
You know what? I think the dinosaur thing was about. I think the dinosaurs had gone into the thing, into the cave at some point, and then maybe I don't know. Maybe they came out of it and into the future.
Maybe they blew up with the meteor theory, and it was at the exact right time. And they were, instead of being thrown to the next day, they were thrown into like how many years later?
Yeah, the future.
But it's like, I don't know. That really confused me. I part of me really likes it. Just as like an audience, I was like, that was fun. Like them seeing dinosaurs, I thought that was fun. But it's never explained. So I'm kind of sitting here like, should they have at least hinted at an explanation? Should they not have? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's my theory. Let me see if I can bring it up. That my theory is that it has something to do with the cave.
Yeah, it would have to.
And so maybe, I mean, but that whole thing is like, it's just like a MacGuffin, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a thing to allow the plot to happen, but it doesn't really have any effect on the film. It's just sort of like
just kind of there.
Yeah, it's just kind of there. Let me see if I can find this.
Did you have any faults with the film? Because we talked a little bit before the stream started, and you said that you would give it like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I would give it a 7.
Interesting. Okay, because we were just talking about it the last half an hour. It doesn't sound like you have anything that you really dislike about the film. So why 7 out of 10?
Well, I would say that probably because this film is very much so like Groundhog's Day, and I think that movie does the same concept better. I think it's a really good movie. I do think it's a really good movie. I think that for me, the genre, I'm not a rom-com guy. That's another thing that kind of doesn't totally do it for me. And so because I felt like there's sort of a predictability of what happens in the film, like I'm not surprised that they get together. I'm not surprised that they get out of the time loop. So it doesn't like blow me away. I didn't have like a really strong emotional reaction when they got together. Thought it was nice, but it wasn't like, cause like I don't know if there's any rom-com where I really feel, cause like that's when a movie really works for you, right? Is when you have that feeling.
Yeah.
When you have that feeling from the film. And those are the films that really stand out for me. I can't even really think of like a romance film that like hits me on that level where I'm like, oh, I really want these people to get together.
Oh,
maybe it's like Twilight or something.
Romance is dead. Yeah, Twilight.
But many of the best romance films, or I think stories in general, the people don't get together.
Interesting. Oh, so you like the tragic death a little bit?
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen the movie The Umbrellas of Cherbourg? You ever seen them?
Not. No.
Yeah, it's a French musical. That's a romance movie I really like.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
that's one that I really like.
I'm getting more into like French films, French like animated films, like the Triplets of Belleville and films like that. But
yeah, I don't know. I think I might have seen that.
Oh yeah, you'd remember if you did. It's pretty
Okay.
oof.
Pretty
But
oof. Okay.
it's pretty oof. But but yeah, sorry.
But you really like this film, right?
I really like this film. Yeah, but I think I would give it like an 8.5 maybe, because you're right. The predictability of it was there. I definitely felt like for me individually, I cared enough about these characters and enough about their progression as individuals and not just as like romantic partners. That's the one thing I don't like about a ton of romance films is like normally their progression as characters is normally together, you know, as like their romance and like how they grow to care about each other and not about what they're going through as like individuals. And if that's ever talked about, it's normally not talked about very well, and it's just kind of thrown in for drama's sake. It's always kind of boring. And for this film, I felt like they were going through different psychological things, and it worked well. And I cared enough about these characters as individuals and as a duo where I was like, yeah, I want them to end up together. You know, like I know they probably have to at this point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be really. I think it would have been better if they had done some sort of a twist on how they ended up together at the end, because I don't know, maybe he doesn't go with her, maybe he's too late.
Yeah.
Maybe it's really funny, like she blows up right then and there.
Yeah. Another film that I think did this something like this really well was Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. There's a scene where. So, have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'll just to try and talk about it without giving too much away, because I think you should definitely watch that movie.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a way where the writer is able to have these characters sort of that we know are in love fall in love again in a way where, you know, we know that they would work out, but we want them to get together. And so that was if this film could have done something like that, I think it would have been effective. Like they get out it, like they blow up, but then they come out of it and they don't remember each other or something like that.
I was going to actually write a film where that happens, and I directed this short film the past few years. This is a short animated film, and I was working with my producer on it, and he was just like, and that was what we were toying with. We're like, what if they get out of this like time? It was a time freeze, and these two are stuck together in this film. And he's like, what? I'm like, what if they don't remember each other? And he's like, he literally looked at me. He's like, don't you fucking dare! Like, don't you fucking dare! Yeah. And so it can work, but it depends. I would have to watch the film because it sounds good.
Oh, it's like a masterpiece. I love that film. It's called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's Charlie Kaufman, one of the greatest writers in all of cinematic history, I'd say.
I will give it a watch.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a movie. That's a very interesting romantic comedy.
You know, like, weirdly enough, what you're talking about with how the twist at how the ending could have been a little bit better. There is a film that I think does a decent job with a kind of sort of similar theme. It's I believe a Korean film. It's a bit older, and I forget what it's called. I'm so sorry. If I remember it, I'll send it to you, or I'll put it in the comments of this. But It was about a young man who ends up stuck in this this time freeze, and so nobody can move. And him and his buddies, when he was like 10 years old, are stuck in this like place where they can't talk to anybody, and they kind of have to survive like over the next how many years. And every 10 years, but after like 10 years, all of a sudden it like unfreezes. But I don't want to give it away. Him and his 4 friends are stuck there when they're like 10 years old. And all of a sudden, years later, he's like, I think he's 30 at this point, actually. So it's like 20 years. And he meets his friend this like little girl who was a friend of his when they were kids. and she has to help him essentially re-enter society. But at the same time, oh man, it's good. I cried my eyes out. It's very good.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to give that a watch.
Yeah, I'm
Sounds
sorry. I don't remember it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. I'm sure it'll come to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to, let me see if I can share my screen and
Oh, are we going to see the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Okay. So you see them, right?
No, I do not. Where are they?
They're all the way out here.
I see them. Oh, yeah. I see
Yeah. It's a brontosaurus.
I wasn't paying attention to that random aerial shot at the end. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, that was it. Those were the dinosaurs.
But they were out of the time loop. And so are they...
Yeah.
Ooh. Wait, is there dinosaurs in this universe then?
In theirs, yeah, there are now.
Outside of the time loop? That's... Okay, see, that's...
There are now.
I would love to see them get eaten by dinosaurs. I don't know.
Like a velociraptor just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
A clever 100%. Girl. Clever girl.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, did you have any other things you wanted to talk about with the film?
I liked it. He hated it. No. No, this was really fun. I really enjoyed this a lot. You're very good at this. This is a lot more engaging than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be a lot more awkward. So this was very fun.
I try. So what would you give it for a rating?
You or
out
the
of
film?
10?
The film. I think I'd give it like an 8.5 out of 10. It needed. Cool. I probably should give it less, but like I've told you, I'm a little bit too kind to films sometimes. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Yeah. I would give it a 7. I think it's solid. I did a review earlier of a film, The King of Staten Island. Yes. This film's a lot more fun than The King of Staten Island, but I really empathize with the main character in The King of Staten Island, which is why I really kind of had a connection with that film. Like, because that film was just about this dude who's like he's basically your typical millennial whose life sucks and he smokes weed and he's going nowhere. Sad. So I can kind of empathize with that. But this film was really fun. I mean, it's definitely a standout for 2020 films, I'd say. Regardless. I think it's definitely up there with. When did no? Yeah, no, I thought it was really, really good. All right, cool. Yeah. I think that's it. We should probably wrap it up. Is there how can people follow you or? Yeah, I'm. You can find me RJ Kroeplin, all one word. RJ Kroeplin, and you can find me on Instagram. I have DeviantArt still, which just what a throwback. And you can find me on YouTube and more critiques on there. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see some more content from you. I'd love to see you just like roast a film. Ooh, I watched The Kissing Booth 2 recently. And those are like really bad Netflix movies, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's why I haven't uploaded yet. I just hate editing in this video. I hate it so much. Yeah. But yeah. That should be a fun one. Yeah. Roast away. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, no worries. Thank you for being a part of this. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Bye. See you next time.